Hello everyone. Today, I would like to discuss international maritime conventions and their importance in regulating global maritime activities. Let us begin. Did you know that maritime transport is the backbone of global trade, carrying over 90% of everything we buy and sell around the world? It is the vital link that connects producers and consumers across every nation. However, because ships constantly travel across international borders, they cannot simply follow the rules of just one country. Without a unified system, global shipping would become chaotic, unsafe, and harmful to the marine environment. To address this challenge, the United Nations, established in 1945 after World War II to prevent future global conflicts, plays a crucial role in promoting international cooperation and maintaining global order. Today, with 993 member states, the UN provides a global framework that helps countries work together to solve shared issues, including maritime safety, environmental protection, and sustainable development. Under the UN system, specialized agencies were created to manage specific sectors. In the maritime field, organizations such as the International Maritime Organization, or IMO, and the International Labour Organization, or ILO, developed international maritime conventions, also known as IMCs, which serve as the international laws of the sea. Therefore, international conventions developed by these organizations help ensure that global shipping operates safely, efficiently, and responsibly. So, what is the definition of an IMC? An International Maritime Convention, or IMC, is a set of rules and agreements developed by international organizations, primarily the IMO and ILO, to ensure safety, security, and environmental protection. These conventions aim to protect human life at sea, prevent pollution of the marine environment, ensure fair treatment and welfare of seafarers, and promote safe and efficient global trade. The International Labour Organization, or ILO, was first established in 1919 under the Treaty of Versailles after World War I, with the aim of promoting workers' welfare and fair labour standards. Later, during World War II, from 1939 to 1945, global cooperation was severely disrupted. After the war ended, the United Nations was established in 1945 to promote international peace and cooperation. Subsequently, the ILO became a specialized agency under the United Nations, strengthening its global role. Now, let me explain how the International Maritime Organization, or IMO, was founded. Before 1914, many countries had already developed their own maritime laws and safety regulations. However, because shipping involves movement across multiple countries, these different national laws often caused confusion, inconsistency, and difficulties in enforcement. At that time, there was no single international body to coordinate maritime rules. So discussions began on the need for a permanent international maritime organization. However, progress was interrupted by World War I from 1914 to 1918, as countries focused mainly on war and military activities. As a result, efforts to establish an international maritime organization were delayed. Later, after some recovery, the world was again affected by World War II from 1939 to 1945. During this period, international cooperation became even more important, as the war highlighted the need for safer and more organized global shipping systems. After the establishment of the United Nations in 1945, global cooperation increased rapidly. In 1948, an international conference held in Geneva adopted a convention to officially establish the organization. At that time, it was known as IMCO, which stands for the Intergovernmental Maritime Consultative Organization. Finally, the convention entered into force in 1958, and the organization held its first meeting in 1959. Later, in 1982, IMCO was officially renamed the International Maritime Organization, or IMO, as we know it today. The International Maritime Organization, or IMO, was established in 1948 and is central to global maritime regulation. As of 2026, with 176 member states and 3 associate members, the IMO has created a framework to ensure the safety, security, and environmental sustainability of international shipping. This development was driven by major maritime disasters, such as the sinking of the Titanic, which led to the SOLAS Convention, or Safety of Life at Sea, and the MARPOL Convention, or Marine Pollution Convention, which was initiated after the Torrey Canyon oil spill. The IMO continues to update conventions to address emerging maritime challenges, such as oil spills, marine pollution, and seafarer welfare. What is the importance of international maritime conventions? The importance of international maritime conventions becomes clear after major maritime disasters, such as the Titanic tragedy in 1912, which showed the lack of unified global safety standards at sea. This tragedy led to the development of modern maritime safety regulations, forming the foundation of conventions such as SOLAS, MARPOL, and others. These conventions have played a vital role in preventing similar disasters and ensuring safer and more efficient global shipping. Once a country agrees to an international maritime convention, it becomes legally bound to implement and enforce its provisions. However, these conventions do not automatically become law in each country. Each member state must incorporate the relevant provisions into its national legal framework. This process involves ratification, accession, or acceptance, ensuring that each country follows international maritime standards. Next, I will explain the key terms used when countries adopt international maritime conventions. Ratification is a two-step process where a country that signed the convention earlier later confirms its participation, making it legally binding. Accession is a one-step process where a country that did not sign earlier decides to join at a later stage. Acceptance is similar to ratification, but it uses a simplified procedure where a country confirms its participation without going through the full process. Finally, denunciation is the process by which a country withdraws from a convention. Together, these terms explain how countries join, confirm, or leave international maritime conventions. Next, I will explain the development process of maritime laws under the International Maritime Organization system. The process begins when an issue is raised. This issue can come from a member state, a specialized agency, or an observer organization, and it is usually related to safety, environmental protection, or operational concerns such as oil pollution or unsafe ship operations. Once identified, the issue is forwarded to the relevant IMO committees, such as the Maritime Safety Committee, or MSC, the Marine Environment Protection Committee, or MEPC, as well as other committees including legal, technical cooperation, and facilitation. These committees, together with their subcommittees, then carry out detailed technical studies and prepare draft regulations or amendments. After thorough review, the draft is submitted to the IMO Assembly, which is the highest decision-making body. If all member states agree, the convention or amendment is formally adopted. Finally, the convention is opened for ratification, acceptance, or accession by member states, and then implemented into their national laws. Similarly, the International Labor Organization follows a comparable process, focusing on seafarer welfare, such as in the Maritime Labor Convention 2006. To further understand the technical development process, it is important to look at the role of subcommittees under the International Maritime Organization. These subcommittees are responsible for carrying out detailed technical work and supporting the main committees. Under the Maritime Safety Committee, there are several key subcommittees. For example, the Ship Design and Construction Subcommittee focuses on ship structure and stability, while the Ship Systems and Equipment Subcommittee deals with onboard systems and safety equipment. In addition, the Human Element, Training and Watchkeeping Subcommittee focuses on crew training and competency standards. The Navigation, Communications, and Search and Rescue Subcommittee handles navigation safety and emergency response. There is also the Implementation of IMO Instruments Subcommittee, which ensures that regulations are properly enforced, and the Carriage of Cargoes and Containers Subcommittee, which focuses on safe cargo handling and transportation. On the environmental side, under the Marine Environment Protection Committee, the Pollution Prevention and Response Subcommittee plays a key role in addressing marine pollution and responding to environmental incidents. Overall, these subcommittees ensure that all technical aspects are carefully studied and developed before any regulation is adopted at the international level. To keep maritime conventions up to date with evolving technology and new challenges, the IMO uses two main amendment procedures. The first is the classical procedure, which requires formal approval from member states. The second is the tacit acceptance procedure, where amendments automatically take effect unless a specified number of countries object. This system ensures that conventions remain relevant and can quickly adapt to new maritime technologies and environmental standards. To implement international maritime conventions at the national level, Malaysia uses the Merchant Shipping Ordinance 1952, which serves as the main legal framework governing maritime matters in the country. In Malaysia, international maritime conventions are incorporated into national law through the Merchant Shipping Ordinance 1952, or MSO. While not all provisions are directly adopted, Malaysia has ratified 31 maritime conventions, showing its strong commitment to global maritime safety and regulatory standards. Under the MSO framework, the minister is given the authority to make regulations, while the Director of Marine is responsible for issuing Malaysia Shipping Notices, or MSN. These notices provide detailed guidelines on maritime safety, operational procedures, and environmental protection. After these notices are issued, the authorities will monitor and observe industry practices to ensure compliance. If further action is required, the minister may introduce additional rules and regulations under the existing MSO framework without needing approval from Parliament. However, if there is a need to amend the Merchant Shipping Ordinance 1952 itself, the process must go through the legislative system, including approval by the Dewan Rakyat, or House of Representatives, and the Dewan Negara, or Senate. In addition, under Section 81 of the MSO, shipowners are required to ensure that all relevant maritime legislation, international rules, and official publications are readily accessible on board. Failure to comply may result in penalties of up to 25,000 ringgit. For example, under Section 252 of the Merchant Shipping Ordinance 1952, the minister is empowered to make regulations for the prevention of collisions at sea, including rules on navigation, lights, and signals. Failure to comply with these regulations may result in fines not exceeding 10,000 ringgit, and penalties may also be imposed on the ship's master.
Thank you for watching. See you in the next video. Bye.